Okay, today's lesson we're going to start looking at the basics of volume, trying to figure out how big a shape is and how much room a 3D shape takes up. So if we look at a basic shape like this is called a rectangular prism, and each one of these blocks is called a unit cube. And the reason they call it a unit cube, because we don't know if this is, say, 1 inch long by 1 inch tall by 1 inch wide, or it could be 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot, or it could even be something huge like a mile by a mile by a mile. So we don't know because there's no labels on this problem, so we just call them unit cubes. Now when we're figuring out volume of this shape, all we're going to do is count up how many unit cubes fill this shape up. Now each block here is a three-dimensional block called a cube, and there's a front, a top, and a side. There's also a bottom and a back and a right, but we don't see those. So this whole thing right here is one block. Okay, so I can sometimes I count either the tops of them, so I notice that there are 3 blocks here, or some people like to count the front faces of them and notice that there are 3 blocks there. So this rectangular prism is made up of 3 unit cubes. Now this next one here gets a little bit more tricky. It's another rectangular prism, and we have to count how many unit cubes are in this structure. So if you counted them, you would see there's 4 across and 3 down. Okay, so you could count every one of them and find it's 12, or you can see that there's 3 in a column, and there's 4 columns, so 3 times 4 is 12. Or you could see that there are 4 in a row, and that there's 3 rows, so that would also equal 12. So this structure has 12 unit cubes. This one here gets a little trickier because now we have a layer behind the front layer. So there's a couple ways you could do this. If you wanted to count the front, you would see that there are 6 unit cubes on this front layer. So it makes sense then in a rectangular prism that the one behind it would be exactly the same. So if I have 6 in this layer and I have 2 layers, then I probably have 12 unit cubes. Now some kids like to count, say, the side ones. They'll see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them on this layer, and then they'll see that there's this layer and this layer. So they'll say, okay, well there's 4 and there's 3 sets of 4, so that would also be 12 as well. Okay, if we look at this one, it looks like there's only 1 layer this time, so it's pretty simple. We just count this one up and we'll notice that there's 7 unit cubes in that structure. Once again, it's a unit cube because we don't know if they're inches or feet or miles or anything else. Now sometimes we can compare these, basic comparisons. So this structure here looks like it has 5 unit cubes. This one also has 5 unit cubes, so if I was going to compare those two, of course they would be equal. The next one, this rectangular prism has 4 unit cubes. This structure has 5 unit cubes. Okay, so of course then we would put the less than symbol in there. 4 is less than 5. Okay, so that's one last thing here. I have some more structures, some of them more difficult than others, and we have to try to figure out which one goes with where here on this multiple choice over here. So if I look here, I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this first layer. And then I notice there's another layer behind it, so 6 and 6 would be 12 unit cubes. This one only has 1 layer, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unit cubes. And then this last one can be a little bit trickier because I can see a row of 3 here. I can see a row of 3 on top, but it's got to make sense that if that's on top, there should be another row of 3 underneath it that you can't see. So this one actually has 9 unit cubes. Alright, so that's the lesson on figuring out how many unit cubes are in each structure.